Hi everybody, and welcome to your channel, Spanish Pills, the best YouTube channel to learn to speak Spanish. Hola a todos y a todas, valientes amantes del español, y bienvenidos a vuestro canal, Spanish Pills, el mejor canal de YouTube para aprender a hablar español. With these basic Spanish phrases, you can start speaking Spanish right now. They are not about just one topic, like other videos that I've made, but they're just random, basic Spanish phrases. So, are you ready? Let's start. 3, 2, 1, comenzamos. Me estoy muriendo de hambre. Or, me muero de hambre. In English, I'm starving. The verb to starve means morirse de hambre in Spanish. In English, you are using the present continuous, and in Spanish, you can use the present continuous, as you can see in this example, but you can also use the present simple. It's up to you. They both mean the same. Just be very careful because the verb morirse de hambre, morirse, is a reflexive verb, so it needs a reflexive pronoun. That is the first word that you can see at the beginning of the sentence, me. Since I am the subject, me is the reflexive pronoun that you have to use. Segunda frase. The reason why I said that I was starving. No he comido nada en todo el día. Remember that you can always pause the video and try to repeat after me as many times as you want every sentence, okay? If we compare both sentences in English and in Spanish, we realize that we're using the same verb tense, the present perfect, and the same word. It's almost a word-by-word translation. The only thing is all day. How we translate, how we say all day in Spanish, in this case, en todo el día. And just one last thing about the word nada, anything in English. The word anything has different translations in Spanish, but in this case, it can only mean nada. The thing is that in English, you use a negative sentence plus anything, or an affirmative sentence plus nothing. In Spanish, it doesn't work like that. We always use a negative sentence and we always use just one word, nada. Just in case you need some extra explanation, I think this example will be very clear. In English, I have nothing, I don't have anything. They both mean the same, right? Okay, there's just one way of saying this in Spanish, and it is no tengo nada. So, in Spanish, to express any of these two different options that you have in English, you have to use a negative sentence and the word nada. Te echo mucho de menos. I really miss you. The word to miss has many different translations into Spanish, but one of them is echar de menos. In this case, the first word, te, is a personal pronoun that would be you in English. It's the last word in English, is the first word in Spanish. Remember that in Spanish we don't have to use the subject because it is included in the ending of the verb. Hecho means yo hecho. So I don't have to say yo. You can, but you don't have to. And about the verb, it's not wrong if you think that it should have an H at the beginning because that would be the past participle of the verb hacer. But this is echar, it's a different verb. The verb echar is not spelled with an H at the beginning. One last thing about the word mucho. This adverb is placed in a weird position, don't you think? I mean, in English, if you want to express how much you miss someone, you can say, I really miss you, and you put really before the verb, or I miss you very much, and you put very much at the end of the sentence. In Spanish, you can only use mucho or muchísimo to express how much you miss someone. And the position of both words is the same, after the verb, but before de menos. So it's like in the middle of the verb, because to miss means echar de menos in Spanish. Tengo muchas ganas de verte. Tener ganas de ver a alguien, someone, in English you say, I really want to see you. So it would be to really want to see someone. I'm not sure if there's another way, you would tell me. But tengo muchas ganas de verte. I really want to see you. And this time, pay attention to the word muchas. Muchas. Why muchas? Feminine and plural? Because of the word that comes just right after. Ganas. Feminine and plural. And since ganas is the word that muchas is modifying, it goes just before that word. Muchas ganas de verte. And in the middle of the whole expression, right? ¿A qué hora te acostaste anoche? What time did you go to bed last night? Okay, first thing, what time? ¿A qué hora? Then to go to bed, acostarse. It's a reflexive verb, so it needs a reflexive pronoun. Te. ¿A qué hora te acostaste anoche? Last night. Don't forget to put the preposition a before qué hora, because what time in this sentence means a qué hora. And if you forget the preposition a, it makes no sense in Spanish. And the answer to the previous question could be, era tan tarde que no me acuerdo. It was so late, I can't remember. Well, be patient here because there are a few things I need to explain to you and they are not so easy to understand. First thing, notice how in English I said I can't remember and in Spanish I say no me acuerdo. I don't use the verb can, poder, because in Spanish if you use the verb poder, it is as if you were not able to. And that's not exactly what it means when you say I can't remember. So we use the present simple without the verb poder. No me acuerdo. Something else. We have two sentences here. So in Spanish, we need something to connect them. Que. That's the word we use to connect those two sentences. Era tan tarde que no me acuerdo. And now the most difficult part of the sentence to explain. The verb to remember. It has two translations in Spanish. You can say recordar or acordarse. Acordarse is a reflexive verb, so it needs a reflexive pronoun. That's why we say no me acuerdo. Me would be the reflexive pronoun because the subject is yo. So what's the difference between recordar and acordarse? How do I know when to use each of them? Okay, most of the times they mean the same, so it's up to you whether you use one or the other. Sometimes it's not so simple. Sometimes there are exceptions and you can only use acordarse. But let's focus on the common rule that you can choose one or the other. In this case, you could say, era tan tarde que no lo recuerdo. The only thing is that you would have to add lo, as if you would say in English, it was so late I can't remember it. It, the time I went to bed. Okay? Let's make a short break and try to practice a verb tense. The present of the verb acordarse in Spanish. Yo me acuerdo. Tú te acuerdas. Él, ella se acuerda. nosotros, nosotras nos acordamos. Vosotros, vosotras os acordáis. Ellos, ellas se acuerdan. ¿Te acordaste de comprar papel higiénico? Did you remember to buy toilet paper? This would be one of those exceptions where you cannot translate the verb remember as recordar, but only as acordarse de. Notice that I've included a preposition after the verb, de. And once again, it's a reflexive verb, so you have to use a reflexive pronoun. When we are talking about very specific memories, we use the verb acordarse instead of the verb recordar. Now let's practice the preterite of the verb acordarse in Spanish. Yo me acordé. Tú te acordaste. Él, ella se acordó. Nosotros, nosotras nos acordamos. Vosotros, vosotras os acordasteis. Ellos, ellas se acordaron. No me acordé de anular la cita con el dentista. First thing, the verb anular means to cancel in English. And this would be another example of when to use the verb acordarse, a very specific thing you are talking about. You couldn't say recordar. However, ¿recuerdas el verano que pasamos en Italia? Do you remember the summer we spent in Italy? In this case, you can translate the verb to remember as recordar, because you're talking about a whole memory, the whole summer you spent in Italy, not just something specific that happened during that summer, but the whole vacation. Do you understand the difference? When translating this sentence into Spanish, you can also use the verb acordarse. ¿Te acuerdas del verano que pasamos en Italia? But by using this translation, by using the verb acordarse instead of the verb recordar, in the conversation, after this question, you are gonna start talking about something specific. Probably some specific memory about that summer. Maybe some place you visited, maybe some incident that happened, maybe something related to the food you ate. I don't know, but something specific is on its way. ¡Qué flores tan bonitas! This is an expression that we use a lot in Spanish. In English, you would probably say those flowers are so beautiful. And you could also translate this as esas flores son tan bonitas. But when you want to express that something is beautiful, you would probably choose the previous expression, qué flores tan bonitas instead. Or qué historia tan interesante. That story was really interesting. And you can also use the same expression to complain about something or just to say something negative, like qué fiesta tan aburrida. In English, the party was so boring. Now an expression that I'm sure you're going to use a lot. Qué casualidad. What a coincidence. Be careful with this word, casualidad, because it has nothing to do with the word in English casualty, okay? And another way of saying the same thing in Spanish would be qué coincidencia. What a coincidence. There's no reason to choose one or the other. They both mean the same, so it's up to you. Qué casualidad or qué coincidencia. And probably after using any of these two expressions, qué coincidencia or qué casualidad, you would probably use something like el mundo es un pañuelo. A very weird expression in Spanish. It means it's a small world, but literally it means the world is a handkerchief. What? Most of the times we use this expression in Spanish when we meet someone in a kind of unexpected place. Well, just like you do in English when you say it's a small world. ¿Estás de acuerdo? Do you agree? The verb to agree in Spanish means estar de acuerdo. So you have to conjugate the verb estar. Estar de acuerdo, to agree. Here you have another example with the same verb, to agree, but this time it's a negative sentence. We don't agree with you. No estamos de acuerdo con vosotros. Remember that you can mean tú or vosotros. ¿Qué estás mirando, Manuel? What are you looking at, Manuel? Okay, apparently this sentence is not very difficult, but there are a couple of things that I would like to tell you about it. First, you are using the present continuous in English. You can use the present continuous in Spanish or just the present simple, que miras. For us, it means the same. The second thing, the verb to look at is a prepositional verb in English, but it's not in Spanish. We don't have to use any preposition after the verb mirar. ¿Qué estás mirando, Manuel? Or, ¿qué miras, Manuel? ¿Qué buscas? What are you looking for? Like in the previous example, in English, you're using the present continuous. In Spanish, you can use the present continuous, ¿qué estás buscando? Or the simple present, ¿qué buscas? Like I told you, they both mean the same, so it's up to you whether you use the present continuous or the present simple. Just one thing, the verb to look for is a phrasal verb because when you put the preposition for after the verb to look, it means something completely different. In Spanish, to look for means buscar. No olvides llamarme después. Don't forget to call me later. Okay, the first thing, it's an imperative sentence and it's a negative one. Don't forget. No olvides. Then in English, after forget, you use a preposition. You put the word to. In Spanish, we don't. But then, in both languages, there would be a similarity, we use the infinitive. Llamarme, call me. Notice how the personal pronoun me in Spanish, when you have an infinitive before that personal pronoun, it becomes just one word, llamarme. And then the word later. The word later means más tarde, but in this case, it's translated as después, after. Why? Because in a way, it is as if I am asking you to call me after you finish doing whatever you are doing, whatever is keeping you busy right now, and you cannot talk to me because of that. So after doing that, call me. That's why we say después in Spanish instead of más tarde. And this is probably why I want you to call me later, because I have something important to tell you. Tengo algo importante que contarte. About this sentence. Tener que. To have to. Exactly the same in both languages. In this case, the structure of the sentence is exactly the same. As you can see, we have the direct object, algo importante, that goes after the verb in both languages and before the rest of the sentence, que contarte, to tell you. And like in English, we use the infinitive, contarte. The only thing is that the personal pronoun you, te, is put next to the verb, forming or creating just one word, contarte. Like in the previous example, I said llamarme. In summary, whenever you have an infinitive plus a personal pronoun, it becomes just one word in Spanish. Another imperative sentence. No confíes en David. Es un bocazas. Don't trust David. He has a big mouth. One thing about the verb to trust. It means in Spanish, confiar en. It is a prepositional verb, so you cannot forget the preposition en. Don't trust David, no confíes en David. And about the expression to have a big mouth, in Spanish we say ser un or una bocazas. That means to be someone likely to easily reveal personal or confidential information to other people. In other words, someone who can't keep a secret. And the word bocazas is the same if you are talking about a male like David or a female like Ana or a group of people. For example, él es un bocazas. Ella es una bocazas. Ellos son unos bocazas. Ellas son unas bocazas. But be very careful with the indefinite article. Un, una, unos, unas. You have to pay attention to the gender and the number. Masculine or feminine, singular or plural. Siempre puedes contar conmigo. First thing, in English you put the adverb always after the verb can. In Spanish you have to put it before. Siempre puedes. And the second thing, the verb to count on. In Spanish, contar con, like to count with instead. A mi hijo pequeño no le gustan las verduras. Okay, let's pay attention to the similarities and to the differences between both languages. The verb gustar is not an easy one in Spanish. First thing, my little son. A mi hijo pequeño. When you're using the verb gustar, you have to use the preposition a at the beginning of the sentence. I mean, not always, but many, many times. So you should start getting used to that. The next thing, the subject. In English, the subject is my little son, but in Spanish, the subject is las verduras. Vegetables is the direct object in English, and in Spanish, as I've told you, is the subject. It's getting very weird, right? And even though las verduras is the subject with the verb gustar is usually placed after the verb instead of before the verb. The only easy thing about the verb gustar is that it can only be singular or plural because the subject can only be singular or plural. And with the verb gustar, we always need a personal pronoun before the verb. In this case, this personal pronoun has to make allusion to my little son. So it is le. If you're interested in learning more about how to use the verb gustar in Spanish, I made a video about it a few months ago that you should watch. It's very helpful. Estas son las mejores galletas de jengibre que he probado. These are the best gingerbread cookies I've ever tasted. To taste means probar in Spanish. ¿Qué día es hoy? Miércoles. Just in case you don't know the days of the week in Spanish yet, here they are. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. ¿Con quién estabas hablando? Con mi profesora de español. The important thing about this sentence is the position of a preposition in an interrogative sentence. In English, you put it at the very end, talking to. In Spanish, we put it at the very beginning, ¿con quién? In both languages, we are using the same verb tense, the past continuous. Were you talking? ¿Estabas hablando? And then, about the answer, in both languages, we use the preposition in our answer, but a different preposition, because in English, you say to talk to, and in Spanish, we say hablar con. This is like the previous one. ¿A quién estás esperando? A mi padre. Who are you waiting for? My father. To wait for means esperar a. Like in the previous example, in the answer in Spanish, you have to use the preposition, the same preposition that you use in the question. In this case, a. But in English, you don't. You just say, my father. In Spanish, you cannot answer mi padre, but a mi padre. ¿De qué color son tus ojos? Azules. What color are your eyes? What color means in Spanish ¿de qué color? Don't forget the preposition. ¿De qué color? Intenta hablar más despacio. No entiendo nada. Me encantaría ir de luna de miel a Bali. To go on honeymoon, in Spanish we say ir de luna de miel. And now a few random basic Spanish phrases. Todo depende de ti. Quédate el cambio. No te rindas. To give up means rendirse. No te pongas celoso. To be jealous in Spanish is ponerse celoso or celosa. Última frase. Y así sin más, and just like that. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video. Una vez más, muchísimas gracias por ver este video. Remember, like and subscribe. Hasta pronto. Adiós.